up and then we get started. Let's just, oh, where'd I go? Wait, am I? Oops, that's the wrong camera. Hold on. This one should be on and this one should be off. There you go. Hi, there I am. This always happens when I do Steph's show and then pop back on to my own setup. Hi, welcome. Good to see you. Happy Monday, everybody. Busy week for me. Wednesday, I'll be at Flappers. Saturday night, Sexy Liberal in LA. I'm trying to make up my mind right now as a Libra, whether I drive in tomorrow night after the show, do my Wednesday show, morning and afternoon, and then the Flapper show, and then drive back after the Flapper show late at night on Wednesday, and then on Friday after my late show, drive back to LA, and then do my show Saturday morning radio show there, and then come in for the Sexy Liberal show in the afternoon, or if I just stay through, or what, but we have Kitten still tomorrow, and that's factoring into my decision. If they end up sticking around, I'm just going to say that that's always going to mess with it. So there you go. Big week, but either way, 2 shows. Wednesday at Flappers, which I will live stream to our patrons, patreon.com/HalSparks. And then, of course, Saturday, Sexy Liberal, which will be, is available as a pay-per-view thing at sexyliberal.com/tour. For tickets and all that kind of stuff. Philip Bittner, at last I checked, is doing well. I wanted to let everybody know that. Some people were asking because there was a kamikaze drone attack in Kiev this morning. There you go. Let's see, what else? That's what's going on. That's my morning. How's your morning going? Hold on, I need to open up my chat so I can see you guys. Whoops, back up. I overshot. There we go. Good morning to you. Don't forget to support the show in any way that you can, if you can at all. If you can't, don't worry about it. Just thank the people that do when they do. When they do what they do, when you do what you could. Why is this camera so small all of a sudden? I have to burn enough chuck. All right. There, that's a little better. Hey, nice there. Okay, so, hi, what's happening? Hi, Sarah. Hey, Sylvia, what's happening? Tobias, good to see you, Mark. 41K, did we hit 41K? What's my shirt? Oh, it's an NFT. This is my NFT, which is available in the Teespring store if you want it. I always buy a few of my own shirts just to wear them and see if they wear in well. This one's a little rough, like the stuff's coming off, but the orange is staying better than the black, so it's kind of looks like worn in. It actually is turning out okay. So there you go. Thank you. So yes, I have an NFT. It's literally just a T with NF on it, but no one else thought of it. I thought of it first. You're welcome. Get your NFT today. Hold on, I'll put one in the. I'll post it in the chat so you can see where they are on the YouTube stream. I'm going to make one on the available in the Streamlabs store today. I recognize there wasn't one there. I'm still waiting for my copyright strike from what you called it, the My Son Hunter thing to go away. Oh yeah, 41,018. We cleared the 41K mark. We're gonna hit 45 soon. 45's coming. We'll have to do a Trump retrospective, something like that, on the once we clear the 45 point, since that is the point that Trump never hit in the polls. Remember, for all the people saying that, what is NFT? There you go. So yes, an NFT is a non-fungible token. It is a blockchain piece of art that supposedly you can only own the original of, but people can make infinite copies of. It's the stupidest fucking thing in the digital world. It's right after cryptocurrency. NFTs are the dumbest fucking things ever. And hence, and you can't ever own it physically. It doesn't exist in the physical universe. It's just a virtual thing. Yeah. Let's see. Is it shopping? Is that what they're calling it? Oh, I see. Your product, no products. What is this? What happened? What happened? There we go. Hold on one second. I'll see if I can go up here. There it is. Let's go with this one. All right. Get this over in here. And then I don't know why, like it reset. Oh, here it is. This is the one I'm actually wearing. There you go. And let's see. Then we go here. And then how do we, oh, why is my page all drifted down there? Because yeah, all right, save. And now there should be, let's see. There you go. And now it should pin in the chat thing. It'll take a minute, but it's going to do it. By golly, by gosh, by golly. But yeah, so either way, it should be in, if you're on YouTube, it's in the little store. And I'm going to make one available with this same image, the black and orange, which I really liked actually, on the How We Need You on FSTV. Is that possible in 20? Oh, on Free Speech TV? I don't know. Here's the thing. Two things. One is there are limitations on me promoting live things and other stuff, and I don't know, I don't understand them enough to figure them out because they seem to be like Tom Hartman can do a big, like one of his book signings and sell books that way, but we couldn't promote Sexy Liberal tickets on there. They have to go off air or not talk about it specifically. It's weird. So no, I don't, free speech is not free speech. So it's weird. Yeah, I know. Right? NFTs, hilarious. And nobody thought of it. You're welcome. Like, come on. Nice, Carolyn. Carlin has 2 NFTs. I'm a fan. I'm going to start, I think, I'm going to get a couple more of these and I might wear them on stage for a little while. Just because if I saw them in a store, I would buy one because it's hilarious, right? So that's my issue with Free Speech TV. This just saying. Hal's been canceled, right? Yes, I'm being canceled by Free Speech TV. No, yeah, never. I brought a NFT. Nice. Steph does she promote Sexy Liberal? Yeah, but it's during like the break. I don't know. It's very weird. Like they have to strike some sort of deal to do it. It's odd. I don't understand it. So either way. So there you go. If at some point they want to carry what I do, I'm not going to tone down my saucy language. Just saying. Oh, nobody's canceling me. I'm not getting canceled. I should do NFT too. That's a great idea. That should be the name of my tea company. I've been wanting to have like how some people have their own coffee line. Oh, it's a good idea. Pick a charity because whatever your favorite charity is, for that idea, I'll send them money for it. Yeah. Yeah, never do that. I know. I love my saucy speech too. Let's see. And let me check in on something. There we go. Still waiting to hear back from Philip Bittner, but he is safe, just so you know. Very exciting. Shall we get to our trends this morning, folks? Because we can. I'm excited. Let's do it. Boink. The big one, of course, right out of the gate is Steve Bannon. The Justice Department wants him to spend 6 months in jail for defying the Jan 6 panel. It's going to happen. He'll try to delay it. But it's going to happen. 6 months in jail, off you go. And this is another one, too. The guys in BTS, the South Korean dance pop band, are signing up for the military. I guess because of their ages and whatever they moved into, or they're getting close to aging out of the possibility, so they're going to serve. Which will, heck, it worked for Elvis. it'll reignite interest and love for them. There you go. So yeah. But this is So this is the they're recommending that he spend 6 months in jail, and he will. I like he'll. The idea is he'll get 6, spend 3, depending. He might do the whole run. I wouldn't rule that out, but and just because they want 6 months doesn't mean the judge won't go, I'll give him a year if he can get out in 6 months if he testifies. How about that? Although there'll be probably a limit on how long you can be put in there for something like that. But the problem that Steve Bannon has is the same problem that Roger Stone and all these other idiots have, is that they've all been given a fair shot at home confinement. And the judge really has to deal with the fact that Steve Bannon will refuse to speak to the January 6th panel under oath, which he is obligated to do, but he will go on his fraudcast every day and yammer about the election fraud and all that kind of crap every single day. So he's not afraid to talk. He's just afraid to talk where there are consequences. And so the judge at some point is going to have to go, you can't make money off of talking if you're refusing to talk in, legal under a legal circumstance. If you want to say the same shit you're saying in prison, knock yourself the fuck out, but you're going to have to write a book, and you're going to have to write it longhand. Very few federal prisoners get early release. Yes, this is true. Oh, and thanks, David, for becoming a YouTube member. Right on. So anyways, this will be fascinating to watch. I think he'll get the whole stint because there's several others in cahoots with him, namely, Peter Navarro and others that are running the same game. And it should be a warning to them from the judge's standpoint. We'll see if the judge actually does it. I think the chances are fairly strong. Don't forget to give a thumbs up. Welcome to the show. Happy Monday. Over the weekend, if I may, let me jump back to this real quick. Let me jump back to my regular things. I don't want to accidentally share things that people don't actually want to share. But let me see if I can find this in our dear friend. Where is he? Yeah, so our dear friend Jay Arnold wrote something, and I've seen this come up a bunch recently. And he wrote this on the 16th. And a lot of people responded to this. He wrote, trying super hard to stay positive. And I like Jay. Jay's a good dude. He's been making a movie. He's trying to sell it. There could be a myriad of reasons why he's doing this. Largely, I'm thinking it's, political stuff that's making him upset about things. But in all honesty, it could just be like the regular challenges that people go through. So he wrote this, and I responded, as I do, by saying, do I need to teach a class or something? Because you have to understand, folks, it is not like my life has been without challenges or severely sad and depressing moments. Anybody who's been through a 5-year custody experience like I had, you know what like fear and sorrow and scraping your way through days are like. But it is that very thing. It is those experiences that have allowed me to have the resilience that I do have, because I understand the challenge when it shows up, and I understand the importance of getting through it is more important than the wallowing or the servicing of that emotion. You owe it to yourself to feel sorrow when you feel it for real, but you owe depression to no one, even yourself. And so laboring under a negative emotion for any second longer than it is natural or healthy to do so is fucked up and indulgent. And bragging about it on social media or bringing it up or looking for kind of tacit, it's not just me support around those things is, dare I say, unhealthy. Misery loves company. It doesn't need any help from you. Jay responded, I was like, do I need to teach a class or something? And Jay said, yes, when does it start? And I said 8 times a week on twitch.tv/HouseBarks. And everyone else, everywhere else I do this. And it's super important. I need you guys to know this, that I don't attribute my positive outlook to a Pollyanna-ish hope out of randomness or out of a way of, sort of distancing myself from real difficult emotions or any of that stuff. Not at all. I believe, it's why I've, gotten the kind of work I've gotten as an actor and had the opportunities that I've had as an actor is because I'm very cool with being upfront with my emotions. And you guys have seen on this live stream me weep openly several times when things are sad or things are emotionally overwhelming for me. I know you guys know that I have a tendency to get a little more weepy, quite frankly, when things are good or people are nice to me. I get very sentimental about how lovely people are. And I am madly in love, as many of you know, with the human race, with all of our foibles and problems. And I also believe that that being of service is one of the greatest things you can do in your life. And indulging in your own negative emotions is distracting from that very gift itself. And so I own when I have an emotional experience. If I'm angry about that thing. But I'm not angry a second longer than it serves me to be angry. I am not sad a second longer than it serves me to be sad. Then it is genuine. The minute it becomes at all indulgent, that is an act of ego, and I will not participate in it. Do I accept that other people do, and that's a challenge for them? Of course I do. That's why I explain this as a service and as an example. And it's also what keeps me to that standard. Is some people just don't know that's an option. Some people think that you have a responsibility to stay in negative emotions when they occur. You don't. And not only that, but throughout your entire life, in anything that matters, optimism, genuine focused optimism is the most productive, useful, helpful, and healthy attitude you can have. Because no one raises a healthy child without some level of optimism. You do not bring up a child without believing on some level that the world is going to be better and that they're going to be a part of making it better, or that there's going to be hope for them. Even if it stays the same, it's not going to fall back into, Neanderthal times, right? You don't go to the gym without a sense of optimism. You don't eat right without a sense of optimism. This has been my challenge that I've expressed with the climate crowd. These girls that threw the fucking tomato soup on the glass in the museum because it didn't hit the fucking painting. They went after the the sunflower painting in the museum. It's protected by glass because of assholes like this. The dude who sprayed the Aston Martin dealership didn't spray an Aston Martin, just sprayed the glass, which means a cleaning crew will get a job that day, but it's not going to change a fucking thing. And the Stop Oil folks are the ones pouring milk out in a store, which, when the cost of calories in human life is higher than it's been because we're in this situation with Russia and because we're coming out of COVID and there's been supply shock throughout, is an act of privilege. It's gross. But ultimately, my complaint with the climate crowd and Greta Thunberg, and bless her heart, she's a kid, so to a certain degree, my issues with her won't really start till she turns 18 and she's a grown up, and I'll speaking grown up to grown up. But other people who've exploited her message or put it out there because they're trying to convince people that it's an important thing. The problem is that once it reaches a doom level, people check out. I grew up in Kentucky surrounded by people who were literally overwhelmed at one point by the number of things that could give you cancer once we started paying attention to carcinogens in the atmosphere and in our food and other stuff, that they just went, fuck it, you got to die of something. And they all checked out. And you have a responsibility, I believe, if you have a message and you care about these things, to keep shy of the doom line, because you will, at that point, you become the destroyer of your own message. You are responsible for people not recycling at that point. You are responsible for people not caring about the greater environment, because you have talked them into, fuck it, you got to die of something. Yeah, Marx makes a good point too. You also begin to sap energy from others, because that depressive nature, that doom and gloom, makes them check out and feel bad. Even the ones who keep trying are doing it with a muted sense of purpose, which is not where you come up with your best ideas in life. It's not the headspace you're in when you solve for the greater problems as an individual or as a society. So I'm not just optimistic because on the merits, life right now, as tough as it is better than it's fucking ever been, and that even the poorest person in the United States has access to more calories and safe shelter than kings did for fucking millennia, and that it's going to keep getting better if we just keep from wrecking it, which is our daily gardening. It is not something that happens overnight. It is a daily practice in our own lives. My optimism is based on that reality. It's not based on some sort of fucking farce. And also because I've had the end of the world rug pulled out from under me so many fucking times as a Gen Xer. I've been told the end of the world's right around the fucking corner. And I've watched it actively depress members of my generation to the point where they gave up giving a shit on so many issues and have to be dragged kicking and screaming back to the regular act of just voting, which should be a constant gardening activity. An example I would give is in the 90s, a friend of a friend she was depressed all the time. She was like, I'm just depressed all the time. And I said, why? She goes, well, how can I be happy when people are starving in the world? How can I be happy when so many people are sad and downtrodden? I'm like, because you give them light on the hill. Imagine saying to a starving person or a person who's struggling just to stay alive that it doesn't get better. Even when you have food, you're going to be sad. The world is heartbreaking. Why try? Imagine saying that to the face of someone who's struggling with food insecurity or illness or poverty. Yeah, strive all you want, even being rich. Money doesn't buy you happiness. And in her case, it makes her fucking sad. Look at her. She's ready to kill herself. At least the good thing about hunger, I guess, is it makes you give a shit. Like, can you imagine saying that to that fucking person? You out of your goddamn mind? I used to, in the 90s, when I'm 2,000 years old. I should probably tell everyone at this point I've been alive forever. No. In the 90s, I used to have a bit of a chip on my shoulder about sports. The storyline about, bond issuances and tax breaks given to sports teams in cities bugged me because it was funding that could have gone someplace else and da-da-da-da. And that was a big sticking point for me during the 90s. And then at one point, I recognized that while there need to be measures around that to balance it out so that it's not overdone. The value of having a sports team and letting people fixate on that and have that as a joy point in their life and something that they can kind of talk about at the bar and talk about it, interfamily. Like my girlfriend and her son know like every team's stats right now in the NFL. And it's the springboard for a myriad of other conversations. It's also a community moment that people can share around games. Societies have done this for fucking ever. And so it has value to the society more than people even recognize. Even the people who aren't interested in the sport benefit from extra businesses and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, there's mitigatory measures that need to be taken so that big teams don't take advantage of the tax stuff. But ultimately, its value in its existence on a social level, it far outweighs its cost. Yes, it's safe tribalism. Manchia is a great way to put it. It is safe tribalism. And I probably had a feeling towards it that some people feel about offensive jokes, for example. People tell, offensive stand-up or hateful or, words as violence in comedy. And I'm here to tell you that once you stop people from joking about something, which is the pressure valve, that's when the hate speech starts. That the jokes themselves aren't hate speech. They will be weeded out by how funny they are. And if they cross the line into not being funny, that person stops working. And there's tons of like right-leaning comedians that just don't fill a room anymore because it's just fucking mean. But it was in that space, and comedy clubs, to use the vernacular of the time, are safe spaces for that entertainment, for that style of interaction. You do not have the right to watch a stand-up special or even a clip of a stand-up act or go into a club and take that offense anywhere but onto your own feet and out the fucking door. Because that space is sacred to the circumstance of human beings in an ever more complicated environment of interaction, especially in a country like the United States, which is not racially homogenous. 23andMe is never going to point you out to be an American. American is an idea, and everybody's welcome to participate in it. And anytime you ring that dinner bell and you say people can come here and participate in our system of government and our rule of law and expand or contract to their heart's content as human beings, once you do that, then you also introduce a lot of complicated social factors. And the way you deal with those complicated social factors is jokes. You joke back and forth, because the minute you stop the jokes, that's when the fists fly. And we've seen that. You can see the ratchet up and violent speak at the same time people were canceling comedians for jokes. Now, there's been overlap. I would argue Louis C.K. and others were never canceled for what they said, but what they did in their own private life and in their, more to the point, their corporate life. Because what Louis C.K. did, inviting those two girls up to his room and saying, "Do you mind if I take my dick out?" And them saying, "Yeah," because they thought it was a joke, and then he actually did it. And them having an issue with that, when I guarantee the last two girls that went up to the room when he said, "Do you mind if I take my dick out?" went, "Sure," and then participated, laughed, or continued to smoke with him. The two women that were upset with this because they believed that, A, they were together as a comedy duo, as a team, and they believed this was kind of a meeting. Meetings don't happen in hotel rooms. They do not. They don't. If we've learned anything from Coco and Fame, is don't go to anyone's hotel room for a fucking meeting ever, unless you're a spy or a thief in some sort of heist movie. Yes, I agree, Mark P. Louis C.K. has issues. That's something you just don't do. And again, you also don't go to a touring musician or comic's hotel room unless you have some interest in engaging in activity with them. It's a hotel room. It's not a meeting office. Can we meet you in the business center is how you do it. We're all grown-ups. That's how you act. And if you're an adult and you go to somebody's hotel room and they're like, hey, you want to sit on the bed? You go, no, it's not that kind of thing. I'll see you later. We're grown-ups. We're adults. No one is like, and again, that's corporate activity. It's a whole other conversation. It had nothing to do with the jokes told in the club itself. And the minute you stop people joking about stuff, and the minute you stop the soft tribalism of sports, for example, that's when you start ratcheting up the interpersonal violence. It's the same thing that happens when the church becomes political. Once churches get involved in politics, they cease to be churches. They start being about the things of man and not the things, not the metaphysical, the beyond, the afterlife, the judgment that will come based on your behavior on this earth and the ethics and morals that you should maintain as a human being. Mr. Johnson was not invited to the meeting. He kind of was, Justina, because it was his hotel room. Mr. Johnson is in the meeting the whole time. Again, it doesn't mean you get to touch somebody if they're in your fucking hotel room, but they, as adults, that's when they go, I gotta go, dude. This is not what this is about. And if you hold it against them later and go, I'm not doing business with them, they came up to my hotel room and wouldn't put out, then fuck you. You also deserve the comeuppance. If that's just how, the story with Louis was that he, not beyond that story, would openly masturbate on the phone to people or say he was, which is gross and weird and a personal problem that's fucked up. What about religious groups that do works like Get Out the Vote and other things? Participation is one thing, messaging is the other. If you're getting out the vote because you should participate in society and you should go show your values in the community, Get Out the Vote should be no different. It's when they tell you who to vote for, or they tell you more specifically, which is what they do on the evangelical side, who not to vote for. That's crucial, because the flashpoints of the world and the Kenneth Copelands of the world are not telling you who to vote for. They're telling you who not to vote for. They're villainizing certain people based on lies, by the way. They're lying about, Democrats specifically, which is antithetical to the message they should be putting forward. That's the issue, right? Yeah, Get Out the Vote is kind of a gray area, but voting in churches is fine with me. No, Get Out the Vote. Using the space of a church to vote, I don't know, maybe that makes people just as a community building, like you would use an elementary school, beats any of the local businesses, and you've got limited options in some places. I'm a big fan of school gymnasiums as the primary place, right? Yeah, they tell you who God wants you to vote for. Well, they kind of do, but they tell you, they'll play up that, Trump is magic Jesus, orange Jesus, or something like that. But what they will spend most of their time doing, which is, again, what it is telling you how evil the other side is. And that's the problem. Yeah, City Hall is a great space. Yeah. Churches resist violence. I would hope so. That obviously some of the mega preachers and some of the tent revivalists have ventured into, dangerous verbal territory lately. And that's what I mean. That's where that trend goes. Once it starts, it's hard to stop. And it takes a lot to wrest it back from that edge. So anyways, I got on a rant because I felt it was necessary. And I, because of that message about people getting, this goes to my statement the other day that healthcare is not a right, it's a responsibility. Healthcare is a responsibility. If you are healthy, you have a responsibility to maintain your health as best you can so you do not take up resources or a hospital bed that is left to other people. You don't drive drunk. You don't drive like a maniac. You don't smoke. You don't, drink to excess and ruin your liver. You don't engage in activities that will break your body down over time. You keep your instrument as healthy as you possibly can, all things considered, so that if you ever need a hospital bed, it's because you need it by no, direct fault of your own. And it is, everyone else can understand how you got there, right? Just a note, it was good to see Phil. It was, Dan. Thank you so much. So it's a responsibility on behalf of the healthy people. And it's also a responsibility on behalf of the greater society, especially if you have the means and wherewithal to actually do something about it, to take care of those who cannot take care of themselves. Especially those who have no choice. Many of you know that my girlfriend has a cousin who was born with spina bifida. That's not something there's no right inherent in God's law in that person's life to health. And in old societies, they'd have just died. But because we, as the United States, as citizens of the United States, and with the ethics and morals and what we believe in, that girl was provided with services that got better and better and better over the decades, to the point where her life expectancy was supposed to be 8 years and she lived to be 22. As tough as it was, those years were a gift and were extra because of the responsibility that we as a society put on improving healthcare, medical schools, improving, through research, even pharmaceutical companies and medical services companies building on their skills, trying to refine the quality of care that they can give. James, thank you so much. Love your show. Keep fighting the good fight. I will. And as a matter of fact, now you've made it so that I have to listen to Triumph's Fight the Good Fight every moment right after the show today. We view it as a responsibility. There's a gray area in the world of where that line is, and that's where most of the argument lies. How responsible am I for your poor health choices versus genetic issues or disabilities and those kind of things? And there will always be an argument back and forth over those until we cure them. Obviously, a vaccine for cancer is coming sometime around 2030. They have just done a major advance forward with spina bifida, where a girl born with spina bifida was able to move her toes and her legs for the first time ever because of stem cell research around spina bifida. Those kind of things, those will all go away. And at some point, that responsibility that we've all taken to try and move that forward through charity, through governmental action, through private business, and all those people working together, will eventually have an impact to where it's just understood. That's not a problem anymore. But it's going to get to that point, not because they had a right to survive it in the 1800s or the 1700s or the 1400s, or even, if they happen to be on the street next to the street Jesus was walking down in Bethlehem. It was because we made it a priority as human beings. We made it a responsibility. If you have the ability to respond, you do it. Thanks, Karis. Reinforce the love I have for this life. That's great. Because I will say that oftentimes I am panicked by the glory of life. I find humanity and animals and life and all this stuff so beautiful, it makes my cells shiver. And that's the thing that makes my eyes well up more than almost anything. And that's what drives my responsibility to engage in it in the extraordinary, where everybody tries to swing for the fences and do the best they can in life, because nobody knows who's going to, it might be your grandkid solves cold fusion because you decided to be interested in the topic in a way that you hadn't previously been interested in, and you spoke to your child about it, and they brought their kid up in an idea that that's possible, and that's what made it happen. We all, everybody wants to be the last person on the fucking assembly line, But every single person on the assembly line has equal value in that regard, and especially when it talks about passing knowledge. And I'm not one of these people who believes that people are a lucky shot of sperm or something. You're where you are because your parents and your parents' parents and your parents' parents' parents made choices to try and make your life better. So, I'm going to get like off the whole purpose of, this conversation, but ultimately, like I said, there is a moral responsibility behind optimism in your daily life based on the reality of what's around you. If you have any privilege, if you're in my chat room, if you're able to watch this at all, you're way ahead of a couple of billion people on the planet easily. And you have a responsibility to not dwell in the negative and weigh down what gifts you might be able to give to the world, because that person doesn't have a choice. You do. Other than that, I have no opinion. All right, let's go back to our trends, because I'll just dig into this, and it'll be in, TED Talks are supposed to be 20 minutes for a reason, I think. So there you go. The Church of Hal. We'll start that at some point. All right, here we go. Woke War 3, this is just stupid. This is Elon Musk tweeted about this bullshit because this David Sachs dude wrote a Newsweek article saying basically basically fuck Ukraine, let them die. They shouldn't have been wearing that short skirt. And Elon Musk is like, totally, bruh. Like, it's just lame. I don't know why this is. I don't know. Before screening of The Whale, Fraser recounted an incident at the Bay Bridge. Had a surreal experience before watching A24's The Whale at the. Brendan Fraser told me a wild George of the Jungle anecdote in a red carpet interview. Then an hour later, he shared it with the whole theater. He apologized for what? Despite the laser eyes he gave me when I sneaked Brandon was incredibly kind and excited to talk about cheesy movies he shot in San Francisco 25 years ago. He lovingly recalled driving down Market Street in a limo in Bedazzled. I auditioned for Bedazzled. I lucked out of not getting it. While accepting the tribute award, I apologized for George for the.
So one part in George of the Jungle, George is going to rescue a parachutist who has become entangled on the Golden Gate Bridge. And my trailer was next to the Golden Gate Bridge, watching there was a parachutist and a mannequin dangling from it. And I wasn't the only one stopping to watch all the traffic on both sides.
Oh, see, okay. Well, what's it doing? Which one's this one? Willow, what's doing? Hold on, Willow. Willow the kitten. It's kitten time. Hello, darling. How are you? Willow is one of the fosters that Summer's taken care of so lovingly the last couple of days. This is Willow, everybody. And Willow is a like to purr. I know. Did you have a good sleep? Did you have fun? What is this place? What's that fan doing? Look at this. Willow. Willow's good. Willow. Just so relaxed. The first one we saw was Gizmo. This is Willow. And Thomas, the tank engine, who's the one with paws. He's got little socks. He's got little white socks. She just is good hanging out. She's just meant to dangle. We haven't seen Thomas yet. Thomas is a beast. He's the runt. Yeah. And he's the biggest fighter. He's an ear biter, isn't he, Willow? Willow, hi girl. Hello, sweetie. Hello. How are you? What is you doing? You're so soft. Oh my gosh. And you have such sharp claws. Yeah, so hi. We just need a kitten moment. Hi. Oh. Oh yeah. You're smelling my earlobe or my earbuds? I guess it doesn't matter. Don't feed Gizmo after midnight. We do, actually, sometimes. We just feed him whenever. He's a beast. You got to go get more food? Yeah, because they're chowing through this. By the way, if you want to support behavior like this, please super chat. I'm just saying. These little things will eat us out of house and home. Don't ya? Oh, no. Yeah, no, you can't jump. So you're way too small for that business on these concrete floors. Oh, cat butt. There you go. You're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you cat butt. she just, that's what she thinks of you guys. She is showing off. With the willow. All right. Well, maybe if we're lucky, yeah, if you get back in time, you can bring Thomas down. Thomas the Tank Engine. Putin has dirt on Elon. No, I think he just has. He gets his aluminum from there. Yeah. So Tesla gets a lot of its aluminum from Russia. Just so you know. And he just opened that stupid gigafactory in China at the absolute wrong time. Like, they threw him a bunch of incentives, but there you go. Okay, so anyways, so I guess Brendan Fraser is just apologizing on behalf of production that they had a person hanging from a parachute on the Golden Gate Bridge and it shut down traffic, and that's lovely. And he's a sweet guy. Okay, these based on real events films were given the historical accuracy test, and my eyes have been well and truly opened. In real life, Jonah Hill's character in Wolf of Wall Street really did swallow a goldfish and marry his cousin. 80% nailed it. 61% on this one. 100% okay. That's because they recreate almost scene for scene. Hacksaw Ridge. Got it right. A lot of what happens in the movie's depiction of the war actually happened. Dramatized much of what we see before the war is either manufactured or warped for narrative purposes, as is the case with the reasons for Doss's pacifism. Lion. Got it right. Saru's incredible. Oh, thank you so much, Lisa Miamore, for kitty support. And the number one. That's lovely. Got it right. Saru's incredible story is told pretty much as it happened. Dramatized, the whole love interest side narrative seems to have been invented. Okay, yeah. Dallas Buyers Club got it right. Much of the script was written from Ron's own personal diary. So what happened to him is contraction of the virus in the setting of the Buyers Club as Ron described it. Right. Dramatized. The idea that he was a rampant homophobe was apparently untrue. Close friend of the real Ron Woodruff actually claimed that he didn't recognize this depiction of Ron, saying that Ron had a relationship with gay men and was certainly comfortable around them. All right. Film stuck closely to source material, leaving bizarre details such as swallowing goldfish, Quaaludes driving, smuggling of money to Switzerland, yacht sinking. Dramatized minor details were slightly altered. For instance, Belfort being arrested during filming of an infomercial and the fact that he actually did more Quaaludes than cocaine. They don't even name the movies at this point. That's let's see some of them. Okay, 17 movies ranked from the least accurate. The least accurate was The Imitation Game. 42%. Alan Turing was indeed a cryptographer at Bletchley Park during the war. He also built the Turing machine and kickstarted the age of computer science. He was also arrested for homosexuality after the war, not getting a posthumous royal pardon until 2013. Dramatized. To be frank, making an incredibly mathematical and technical story interesting and engaging in a wide audience while completely is near impossible. Thus, much of the narrative was made up, including the placing of a spy in Bletchley. In fact, they didn't know there was a spy there until 1951. The scene that didn't happen. Scene that did happen. Floorboard bit. Okay. Hacksaw Ridge got a 52%. American Sniper got a 56.9%. Many of the events in the movie did actually happen. The thing that was largely exaggerated was Kyle's involvement in them. Famous scene used in the trailer did happen when Kyle must decide whether to shoot a child to save a convoy, but there was no child in real life. It was a woman. Firstly, the movie was adapted from his memoir, parts of which have been disputed anyways. Right, that's always the problem too. It's like how it's accurate to the memoir, but is the memoir accurate, which is the second one. Lion, 61%. Dallas Buyers Club, we looked at that one. Philomena. pretty much all of what happened. She got 70%, including the experience with the laundry and the traumatic events that happened to Philomena when she was young. For dramatic purposes, Sixsmith's centrality in the main plot was over-exaggerated. There were liberties taken with what Philomena did and say, okay, know about her lost son. Yeah, they're going to try and tighten that stuff. Hidden Figures, 74%. It's good. The main narrative, we own Hidden Figures. Summer and I have watched that a couple of times. Bought it on iTunes. It's really good. The main narrative of Hidden Figures stayed true to the real events that occurred during the space race, and the three main leads, it's Roger P. Henson, Octavia Spencer, and Janelle Monáe, all studied the women they were portraying. Dramatized the closeness of Katherine Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan, and Mary Jackson was somewhat inflated, and as to be expected, there were far more people involved in these events, and the timeline was somewhat muddled. Overall, though, a very accurate film. The King's Speech, 74%. Spotlight, yeah, pretty close, 76%, because so much was written about the writing of these. The Social Network, 76%. Again, yeah. Bohemian Rhapsody, Yeah, the timeline part is kind of crucial. Pretty much everything that happened in the movie did happen in real life, just not exactly in that order. Yeah, scene for scene, which is important, though, because when you find out a piece of information about someone, informs how you interact with that person from that point forward with that new piece of information. And if you move the piece of information around, it creates like a mismatch in your behavior that makes it look like, there's a great example. So in the Dahmer series, anybody watch the Dahmer series? So let me know in the chat if you watch the Dahmer series. Okay. There is available on Netflix a Dahmer in his own words with the recordings. Right? Yeah, so you can hear what he says about what happened and you can watch the movie and then, mix the two. Okay, in the Dahmer series, there's a true story about him stealing this mannequin that he got from a store, at least as he tells it. There's a silver male mannequin that he gets, and he sleeps with it at night to just kind of cuddle with it or whatever. And he's got it in his room, in his bed, and in the series, his grandmother comes into the room and she finds it and she's upset because it's super gay for him to have a male mannequin in his bed, which apparently she's never seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off. But he's got this mannequin in the bed and she sees it and the grandmother throws it out because it's gay. Is basically what you're supposed to believe, that she got rid of it and he was really angry and it drove him to maybe be more violent because she did this to him. Now in real life, she found it, she was slightly upset and she was like going to talk to his dad about it. So he took it downstairs and into the basement and he destroyed it and then threw it in the garbage because it wouldn't fit into the garbage full, okay? So the storyline in that, though, it makes it look like grandma's homophobia was so entrenched in her behavior that she saw this mannequin, went, ooh, gay, and didn't consult him and threw it out. And it was indicative of how the family just drove him to this, that to some degree his grandmother has some sort of culpability in this act. That's not true at all. And as a matter of fact, what you get from the recordings of him talking about it and the interviews with his parents and, when they talk about his grandmother, was that she was fairly certain he was gay, fairly certain he was taking dudes down into the basement to have sex with them. And she, while being a Christian woman and slightly embarrassed with it, was not like, out of my house with that filthy sin. She was just left him alone. And the fact that she was leaving him alone in her mind, very possibly to just be gay with the men he was bringing over, was where he was killing them. He wasn't in a love relationship with them that she found difficult to deal with in, the early 90s, late 80s or whatever. It's, but so it paints a picture of her, not only that's different from reality and even Dahmer's own recollection about it, but also it paints a different picture of her, like his reaction to her and almost blames her for some of the deaths that happened later, and it's not at all what happened. So that's what I mean. Like the syntax is part of it, but that's in terms of his grandmother and how she related to him and why she kicked him out, and it was largely his drinking that drove him out of the house, not the fact that she kind of was pretty sure he was having sex with dudes. That wasn't the problem. It was that he was drunk and he was kind of mean and yelled at her when he was drunk. Wolf of Wall Street, 80%. Dramatized. Well, we first have to be cautious how much we believe because it's based very closely on the autobiography of a notorious fraudster, Jordan Belfort. Exactly. So this is 80% accurate to the source material, but not necessarily to reality, right? Captain Phillips, 81.4%. What's depicted in the movie is predominantly in line with Phillips' personal account of what happened. Practically the whole ending occurred as it is shown, and his breakdown, eventually the Navy SEAL shooting all of the pirates, and Phillips being covered in blood. Less known about the pirates, they also had use of some of their imagination when characterizing them, also because they all died. Also, the relationship between Muse and Phillips was somewhat exaggerated. Apparently, Phillips was portrayed as more of a team player in the film than in real life. Okay, there you go. Rush, 82%, the racing story. Because there's not much, it's exciting to begin with. Bridge of Spies, 88%. This is pretty great. I liked Bridge of Spies a lot. And it's a lot closer, by the way, Bridge of Spies is a lot closer to how most spy work goes. Most spy work happens without a shot being fired. And there's a weird aspect of American spy movies that there's a lot of like automatic gunfire and big stories, when in reality, true spy dramas are incredibly tense, very quiet, and involve not a shot fired anywhere if they're effective. This is why, really, when you see a spy movie as it's done, you're really only seeing a movie about a failure of the spy network, not a success. There was the Assassins, the Antonio Banderas Stallone movie, and they made a very distinct choice that there is no unsilenced gunfire in the whole thing. That was one of the biggest, like, positive choices in terms of, the underground world of this kind of stuff that I've ever seen. Yeah. Okay. The Big Short, 91.4%. Yeah, this is also the perception of the people involved, though, also. You almost wish that much of this was dramatized, but it was pretty much all factual. They also, there was a lot of narrative pushed by people talking directly into camera or drop facts, which makes it seem like the people at that moment knew the drop fact. So that's the weird part. Selma, right? 100%. Rightly took care when retelling these events, and were particularly careful to include as many of the people involved as possible, hence the unusually large cast. The important historical scenes were done considerately, and they were incredibly impactful because of this. Some commentators declare that the film misrepresented Johnson, with some, Johnson's former assistant, saying that he and King worked together more, although it seems as though the film's portrayal was actually closer to the truth. I mean, it's hard to believe, know what to believe with fucking Johnson, because dude was like, if there was a better president to be named Johnson, Lyndon, there isn't one. Because dude literally was asked, I think, by a reporter at one point about what their plan in Vietnam was. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And he whipped out his dick and showed it to him and said, "This is the plan." So that was Lyndon Johnson. My son Hunter, 0.000666% exactly. Lies, lies, lies. Yeah, I mean, it's why they hit me with a copyright strike. Let's be completely honest. I've covered other movies like this, but they were all, documentaries. So answering them is really, it falls into the news narrative more. These guys were selling a story, so it didn't even have to be accurate, so they could just hit me with it. Okay, what was seized? We seized more fentanyl. Okay, seized Special Task Force Crime Branch, arrest 3 from Jharsuguda and Sambapur, and seized 3 leopard hides from their possession. Poachers. Core cache seized allegedly on the bipolar. Okay. Lots of, I mean, you put the word seized up there. Okay, this is probably what was coming up. Federal judges did this because they seized his phone and he wants it back. And you're like, nope, you don't get it back until we have completely examined it. Dum-dum. This is really weird. This whole, this thing, like, U.S. Jews have to get their act together and appreciate what they have in Israel before it's too late. Eek. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Supreme Court rejected Trump's, attempt to insist on the special master. And then, yeah, Russia is grabbing men off the street to fight in Ukraine. Yeah. Ugh. Oh, did she write another part of seized? Don't you? Did she write one of these? They've seized the Texas border agencies over $1 million in alleged fentanyl. I love alleged fentanyl. This problem starts in Texas, then flows to the rest of our nation. We have to get a grip on this fentanyl-fueled crisis. They are, fucko. That's what seized means. This is Lauren Boebert saying this. Oh my God, look how much we found. Yeah, we found it. That's the point, dummy. This whole story is fucked up. Petite larceny. All right. Alleged child groomer Ezra Miller set to star. In the Flash. They're still shooting Flash stuff. Ezra Miller promoting the Flash next summer. Yeah, this shit, I don't get at all. Miller reeks of what was the Danny Masterson, the Scientology dude. How does Ezra Miller still have that gig? Partly, I think because he toys around with alternate pronouns and has presented himself effectively as a trans trender, taking advantage of that has scared DC off of firing him. House Sparks, the clip scene is huge. Oy. Jared Leto's a fairly decent guy, though. Ezra Miller is kind of like the Charles Manson of Jared Leto's. Alert, we have a Ghislaine with long hair in prison. Pick alert. Oh, God. Yeah, I don't know how you work Issa being the only celeb to call out Hollywood for staying silent and supporting Ezra through all the violence and harm they've caused. I think the fact that they use they them pronouns, that he does that, and that he's been taking advantage of kind of like amorphous sexuality has created this illusion of misunderstood sexuality that for whatever reason, it makes Hollywood afraid to do anything. DCU, the director, has pled not guilty to a felony. That's interesting, Caps. The DCU is facing a maximum sentence of 26 years if convicted. So you got to do the reshoots right away, I guess, don't you? Orange Hat Reviews has reported on Ezra Miller's BS. Lock him up and recast his flat. I agree. But it seems like some people take advantage of Hollywood's openness and acceptance of people's identities and people's lifestyles, even. And in this particular case, since it's such a gray area, people can act on it. Again, this is the difference between autogynephiliacs and transgender people. There's a distinct difference. And it is not the responsibility of transgender people or transsexuals themselves to be responsible for autogynephiliacs. Trans people do not have to answer questions about why BTK dressed up in women's clothing and wore a plastic mask. You know what I'm saying? It's not their fucking any more than black people have to answer for Rachel Dolezal. And if you don't make a distinction between the two, it's not their fault. You're not making the distinction. And including them in it is I think, disgraceful. That's my own feeling about it. If Rachel Dolezal commits a crime, which she arguably did by posing as a black person, heading the NAACP and defrauding everyone, that's not black people's fault. Does that make sense? So Ezra Miller usurping trans language as cover for some sort of Nexium sex cult bullshit he's pulling is not the responsibility of trans people. And if you say, well, if they just say so, then that's enough, then what you're doing is you're basically leaving trans people at the effect, and especially like questioning youth when you're talking about, young people who are dealing with this, with their identity and trying to find their way. You're just sending them to the wolves like Ezra Miller in that case. Yeah. Anyways, that's Ezra Miller is. Does anyone still want to be in Kanye West business? Well, apparently he's going to buy Parler, because if you want to be anti-Semitic, apparently that's where he feels the safest doing it. I guess it's the one social media that apparently the Jews don't own. And he's going to buy it, or it's the cheapest date in town. Start your own Ning, you dumb son of a bitch. Ugh. By the way, not a Kanye West fan, never have been. All of his music is copycat bullshit, just rapping over other people's talent. He's misappropriating language that would get him off free. That's exactly right, Michelle. That's my feeling about it. And again, that is not trans people's responsibility. That's our responsibility to be able to tell the fucking difference. And part of it comes with protecting trans people from people who would take advantage of how open and accepting you're being. Again, this is weaponized compassion. Oh, Candace Owens. So George Floyd's family is going to sue Candace Owens about her documentary that Kanye West was citing about how Chauvin wasn't even on his neck and he died of fentanyl. Okay, couple of things right out of the gate. It's bullshit, but let's just go with the narrative that he presents in this viral video that they put out. If you're a police officer and you are holding someone down and their heart stops beating, your responsibility now is to roll them over and perform CPR until the medics arrive. And if you are unsuccessful, that's life. But if you don't try, you are complicit in their death. So this idea that somehow that's an actual acceptable excuse is fucking bullshit. Like, if you're going to come up with an excuse as to why you don't, believe the narrative, that ain't it. It's just stupid. If you're a police officer and someone you are detaining has a medical emergency, they are now in your care. And if you do not take time, and by the way, the two guys where the guy stole their taser and he fired it at them and they fired on him as he was running and he was firing back over his shoulder. And believe me, if you get tased, somebody can do whatever the fuck they want to you after you've gone down. So the idea that it's non-lethal is kind of silly. But he fires over his shoulder at this. The problem was not that they shot him in that instance. It's that when they shot him and he was down, he was still alive and they did not start CPR. They did not start first aid. That's why they ultimately lost their job and went and I think one of them even went to jail. That's why. Not for shooting him. The shooting in that circumstance was justified, but he was alive, and at that point, as an officer of the peace, you go from protect to serve in that moment, because running away, even when you're being violent, the judge and a jury will decide whether somebody gets the death penalty, especially, and if they don't have one in your state, it's not even on the fucking card. So start helping. Same thing is true of George Floyd. Yeah. And for everybody, by the way, in the chat who's going, he's brown and this is a brown thing and brown. Okay, both he and Candace Owens are both black people. This is how they feel about this. So it's not as cut and dry as people make it. Like I get into this with Rex Chapman. I love the dude, but I get into it with him about this all the time. There's a Philip Seymour Hoffman check. Let your phone fill in the rest, which is very strange to do about a guy who died of fentanyl overdose. Again, he was seeking heroin and got fentanyl instead and died. If he'd had access to, I view him as one of those opioid deaths. Willow, thank you so much. Your mom Jolie's birthday. Aw, happy birthday, Jolie. 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 I hope I made you laugh a little with that moment. There you go. Happy birthday. Liz Truss, because her, like, this is like the story about, oh my God, Italy's going fascist. And England, the UK has gone right wing. And nope, they came in day one. Can Liz Truss outlast this lettuce? Nope. Literally, Hunt, the new person in charge or whatever of the budget, just chucked out the rest of her budget. Just threw it the fuck out. Yeah, there it is. One of the many jaw-dropping events today is that Jeremy Hunt has shot Liz Truss's only fox. At PMQ's last week, her sole attack line on Starmer was that he was only pledging 6 months of energy price subsidies compared to her 2 years gone. So they're doing 2 years of energy subsidies to get through this and stuff. Oh no, Jeremy Corbyn was simply the end of Theresa May, Boris Johnson, Liz Truss, though, there's a ticket to prosperity strong and stay. What? The Edward Snowden chatbot is on the fritz. Shortest prime ministers. Canning, 119, died. Godric, useless. Boner Law, really? There's a person named Boner Law. England, what are you doing? What are you doing? You can't have somebody named Boner Law. I mean, honestly, this person is a walking Python sketch. I can't. Devonshire, sounds good. I had a friend when I was growing up named Derbyshire. That was his last name. Mark Derbyshire. Devonshire, Shelburne, and Liz Truss. Yeah, we'll see. Michael Jordan is playing Kang, or is this a Creed 3? This is a Creed 3 ad, isn't it? Yeah, Creed 3. And then it's trending under Kang because they want him to play Kang, I suppose, or something. Yeah, Creed 3 is coming out. Man, you got to give it to Stallone, man. The Rocky story alone is responsible for 3 of the best, will be 2 so far, but the 3 of the best Michael B. Jordan films. And dude wrote Rocky 1. Thank you, Saha. I'm glad you like my stand-up. Thank you. That something that Stallone wrote on a legal pad in 1977 has been the career of dozens of fucking people. Like Burt Young alone, like probably every house he owns was paid for because Stallone wasn't getting work because everybody thought he looked and sounded stupid and they said, fuck you. And he sat down and wrote effectively a Rocky Marciano comeback story on a legal pad and sold the story. Kang like the Klingon? No, Kang in Marvel. Burberry, the Burberry fit, mom and dad. Okay. I don't know, they're wearing Burberry. I don't care. I like, fashion and trending these stuff is very strange. Oh, Harrison Ford and William Hurt are trending? Okay. Harrison Ford has reportedly taken over the role of General Thaddeus Ross in Marvel Studios' upcoming Thunderbolts. Cool. Harrison Ford has reportedly been cast as Thunderbolt Ross for Captain America New World Order. Ooh, boy. Come on, bring back Chris Evans for this, will ya? because I'm on like I love the Captain America character. I'm gonna have a hard time watching it if it isn't Chris Evans. Really, just saying. I mean, how committed am I? How may I? Hold on. This is this is what a Captain America fan I am. Do you understand? Yeah, because yeah, that's this is what I get as gifts for Christmas and birthdays. So there you go. I gotta hang this back up. Hold on. Give me a second. It's harder to hang up than it is to take down. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this movie. I started out in the Marvel universe as big Iron Man fan because I love Robert Downey Jr. and Summer loves him. We watch the movies and it's great. But for the record, like the storyline that they gave him, sorry, that iteration of Cap is done. I know. Would you play Captain America if asked instead of Chris? Of course I would, but I would end up being the Winter Soldier. They'd make me Bucky because I have brown hair. That said, the storyline of that, especially the part where when he's underweight, he tries anyways, and he doesn't know he's going to be a super soldier. He just wants to serve the country and serve and fight, and he doesn't like bullies. That whole storyline is great. And then when he jumps on the grenade, that shows that he's worthy of this special gift. Yeah, and so that moment in it, yeah. What's my method for decluttering your house? You assume that I do. It builds up, and then I go, fuck this, and I spend days decluttering it. And then it comes back up, and then I do it again because I'm constantly moving around and doing stuff. So, yeah. But so the story about him, how he earned his status is, I think, like, yeah, the flagpole scene is great where because he's small, he has to think tactically. Yeah. Like that kind of thing. So, yeah, the movie stayed very true to the comic storyline, which I really appreciate. I loved it. And the whole, like, where he's in the fight with Bucky in Winter Soldier, and he goes, "You're my friend," and he goes, "You're my mission," and he goes, "I'm with you to the very end," and he's just going to let him. He's hoping that the act of Bucky beating him to death might wake Bucky up to who he is, so he just doesn't fight back. It's just great. I mean, it's a beautiful storyline. It really is. Thor's not a man, he's a god. I have problems with that shit. So I've always had a problem with that. Like, I always prefer, the science-based or the knowledge-based superheroes. Tommy Lee Jones is great in Captain America First Avenger. I think the biggest problem with Captain America, the first one, was that they made the uniform to what they thought was realistic to the time. It wasn't cut tightly. It didn't stretch, those kind of things. And so it really was just baggy all the time. So, yeah. How Amazon Prime, Keep Punching documentary about Stallone making Rocky versus Drago. He explains why he talks the way he does. Yeah, he had Bell's palsy, I believe. So, did I watch She-Hulk? No, I just wasn't interested. Evans was definitely the best casting for Cap. I agree. He nailed it. Terrific stuff. So, anyways, I just really appreciate that storyline. I like it, and I believe in the powers of symbolic reminder in your lives. So, yeah. That's all cool, but can we talk about how great Xanadu is? Well, yes. as a final Gene Kelly movie, it doesn't live up to his oeuvre, but I will say it was lovely to see him again. And Olivia Newton-John, rest her soul, was beautiful and sweet and good and nice and cool. And as your late 70s, early 80s extended music videos go, which there were a few of those, I think the Sgt. Pepper's movie falls into that category a little bit. I think it worked out just fine. There you go. You're welcome. Don't get me started. And of course, it gave us the song Magic, and that's good enough. There you go. All right, where are we? Harrison Ford, so we did that. Harrison Ford, guy. C's, we did that. Oh, God, Marjorie Taylor Greene is trending. Why? Probably just being an asshole. Her husband is proof that Biden stole the election. What?
Victim of the January 6th riot. I was a victim of the January 6th riot.
Oh, she means because she was actually present. They would have attacked her. Oh, hi, Renee. I'm glad you love Xanadu. I do too. I have the double record. I've had it since I was a kid. I love it. She wouldn't say whether or not. Boy, that was a lot. And God bless you, Marjorie Taylor Greene. If you truly believe that, then I'm privy.
You know, I believe in this country. I believe in our democracy. And I believe in standing up for human rights. People come up to me every day and tell me how they feel attacked by you. And yes, I'm talking about children in our LGBTQ plus community. Every day, Congresswoman Greene. Seniors.
By the way, she's trying to do like the hard stare on this. Like, I'm looking right at you, okay? Even though you are black and it's weird for me. I'm looking right at you.
Latinos, blacks, men and women, every day. This is how she treats the people of Northwest Georgia and the people of America. Attacks, constantly attacking.
Do you stand by that?
Boy, that was a lot. And God bless you, Marjorie Taylor Greene. If you truly believe that I'm praying for you.
That dude worked on his talking points. Go Marcus Flowers, man. Day after Capitol Rising, it's hard to believe. It's a hard thing we did yesterday, but I wouldn't do anything else. I wouldn't do anything else. What?
And what you did was so brave and made a difference to so many people. And I personally wanted to say thank you for being that person.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you so much. That's so nice. Yeah.
Thank you. You know, those pipe bombs were heavy. Sorry.
And every one of them that I've talked to, almost to a person, has said Marjorie Taylor Greene is not who they want representing them. So yes, this campaign is about Marcus Flowers, not MTG. Thank you.
Joshua, it's your turn.
I need a rebuttal to that. You cannot accuse me of insurrection. I was a victim of the January 6th riot just as much as any other member of Congress. That was the third day I had on the job. I had nothing to do with what happened there that day, and I will not have you accuse me of that. That is wrong of you to do. You're lying about me, and you will not defame my character in that manner.
Did Joe Biden win the election, Congresswoman Greene?
Joe Biden is the president of the United States,
Absolutely,
Marcus.
But you pushed a big lie that said he did not win the election.
There was election fraud.
You drove those people to the Capitol on January 6th with your lie.
We're going to move on.
Oh, Marcus Flowers, just bringing it. Go Marcus Flowers, man. The things I say in public are the truth. Yeah, so they're playing that clip over. Yeah. Yeah, this is like, and everybody's floating these shots of her, you know, on the 7th, 8th, and 9th saying this was necessary. We did the right thing. Yeah. I just want to see this get closer. The Marcus Flowers thing. And again, part of it is because it's this Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's got a name recognition. It's kind of like how Mitch McConnell stays in power. Marcus Flowers needs more attention. So if you guys feel like boosting for the sake of helping a campaign, I would say boost Marcus Flowers' name, because that name recognition will move some of the voters in that district alone. Yeah. Artists say AI image generators are copying their style to make thousands of new images completely out of their control. That's true. The British, oh dear. And John Oliver are trending at once. I wonder how that happened. Trans rights, and I have to say it was so good for him. Guys, but if a child has to be an activist, you already failed that child because she just gets to be a kid and enjoy her life. Yeah, but it's not quite true, because it's a new experience for most of modern society. This is not something that's been going on forever. I would argue that's a little closer to true about women's rights, for example, because that's been a fight for hundreds of, if not thousands of years. I mean, it's one of the reasons why you can argue that Catholics were shunned, because they give too much status to Mary for a lot of, the Episcopalian and Protestants. So, yeah, just saying. And I get to vote this week, which is fun too. So, very exciting. All right, so that's the end of our trends. We got about a half hour left. Let me check what's going on in Ukraine right now. Like I said, I saw a message from, got the thumbs up from Philip Bittner. He's good. Just got a message from him for people, those who are, considering this and, and wondering about him, just letting you know. And let me go the latest from Ukraine while we're at it. Yikes. Hold on one second. I'm going to open up one other thing. Sometimes I have to pre-check some of the stories so that we don't accidentally dump some imagery on you guys. That's pretty awful. I'm just saying. By the way, like and subscribe. Give a thumbs up. Support the show if you feel like it. This is the morning show. I do it Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 9 to 11. And then, of course, the afternoon show is from 3 to 5, except on Thursdays, which starts at 4 o'clock, goes to 6 o'clock, because we have a scheduled family FaceTime. And when I started doing this show regularly, I didn't want to have the whole family move that. So there we go. This is nuts. Let me show you this. And this is in Yetsk. Yetsk is, I think, the name of this. This is a Russian fighter pilot crashed their plane into a residential building, presumably by accident. There's the fucking parachute right after takeoff. Oh, Julia Davis is who you're thinking of, Tabby. We'll get to her in a second. I'll show you. Yeah, Julia Davis. She does the Russian War Translated. She translates all the Russian propaganda channels. Look at this fucking guy. This is a crashed. This is in Russia. How do you become a member? There should be a thing at the bottom of the chat if you want to join that way. Anybody on YouTube want to explain, help Charlotte about becoming a member, or on Twitch if you want to subscribe over there, twitch.tv/HalSparks. If you have Amazon Prime, it doesn't cost you a dime. You got to redo it all the time though, because they make sure, because there's a lot of kids on Twitch, so they make you re-up your membership on Twitch, which is a good thing. I think that's good. Makes me earn my keep. If you think I'm earning my keep, then keep being a member. If you don't, then sit back and enjoy the show for free. And if I make you laugh or improve your day at all, it's one thing. No, I don't think this was a man-pad. I think this fucker just crashed. Let's see, the Reuters story. Let's see if I can find this. Yeah, Russian fighter plane crashes into apartments in southern city near Ukraine. That's this. Okay, I gotta pay for that. I'm not paying for that. Get out of here. Look at your craziness. We're back. Oh, thanks. Is that a coffee? I thought it was a cat.
Not yet. Just walked in. Give me a second.
Okay, cool. I think we'll get to see.
Give me a few minutes.
Okay, couple minutes. Countdown to Kitty. Summer's going to bring down, she brought me a coffee, brought me a nice coffee. The way I like it. Plain, just like my tea. Just a giant iced coffee. I got up at 5 this morning, went to the gym, worked out for an hour, and then came back and then watched a lecture on Chinese macroeconomics. And then did Steph's show and then did this. That was my morning. And so coffee is going to be, I'm going to start flagging in a little bit. No, there's no cream, no nothing, no sugar, no nothing, just black coffee. Let's see. Yeah, so this is this is inside Russia. Yeah. So how, you want to spar jiu-jitsu? Okay. That's fun. We can do that. Pad up, though. I'm a kicker. HIMARS transform the bat. Yeah, HIMARS are taking names. Retired Marine went missing in Ukraine. His family says he's severely injured in a Russian hospital. Ooh. Which site? Did they say which tire? It's Ivuka? In a separatist-controlled hospital in Ukraine after he went to fight, I guess, on behalf of Ukraine, I hope. 108 Ukrainian women were released from the Russian captivity. Can only, yeah. Oh, so this is the other thing, too. 4 people have died, including a pregnant woman in Kiev and in other places. But they're flying these Iranian suicide drones, which I was talking about with Philip Ittner the other day on Saturday on the radio show, that they're super loud. They're cheap drones. They're about $20,000 a piece, and they just loiter and crash. But they sound like chainsaws, and they can be taken down with small arms fire. So Philip has been mentioning, and other people have been mentioning, that there's a lot more small arms fire happening in major Ukrainian cities, not because there are gunfights in the street. Senior jump kicks, no joke. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So they're very slow and they're loud. They go 100 miles an hour when they're in their actual, when they're actually crashing. They, their engine plus their velocity going downward, they can reach 100 miles an hour, but they're going about 60 miles an hour the rest of the time. So it's like shooting at a moving car, and they shoot them out of the sky with rifles and handguns. So people are going out and firing at these things when they see them in the sky, and there's people stationed on rooftops to shoot them down now. And this is what Russia's just doing now. CCR, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's why I have to scroll through these things, because there's lots of dead bodies. Yeah, this is the kamikaze drone story again. Yeah, this is a state TV journalist who denounced Ukraine war, flees Russia. This is the woman who held up the cardboard sign on TV and then was put under house arrest. She and her daughter fled the country a couple of weeks ago. I think we even talked about this. So, good for her. But yeah, big story. Oh, kiddo. Because of Russia, my daughter's again sleeping in an underground parking lot during missile and drone attacks. Oh, I think we've got a kitty. Hold on. We got... Aw, sleepy Thomas the tank engine. Thomas the tank engine. It's Thomas, everybody. Say hi, Thomas. Hi, Thomas. How you doing, buddy? What's the fan? What is... Hi. Hi. How are you? This is Thomas, everybody. Thomas has white socks. So he's on all of his feet. He's got little white toes. He's got white feet. All of them. Look at this. Yeah. Hi, buddy. You okay? Yeah, he's a buddy. Yeah, so this is, so far, we've seen all 3 of them. Hi. Yeah, you okay? Hi. There you go. He was sleeping. And he just wants to hang out. Super sweet. All of them are very nice. They're very playful. They're very rambunctious. They're just now learning how not to bite their siblings too hard. There's a lot of squealing that goes on at different times, but they're learning. That's how they learn. You good? You okay? You okay, buddy? You want to see? Oh, you want to? You're looking at the fan? He's looking at the fan moving. There he is. Hi. Yeah. So yeah, so this is Thomas. And so there are three of them. There's a fourth. What's the fourth one's name? Leo, who's sick. He's got parvo, and is under treatment for it, so couldn't come stay here for danger of giving it to the other kittens. Our cats are vaccinated, but these guys, I don't know that they've gotten it yet. They've got to wait till they're older. Huh? They're on medicine to prevent it, yeah. Hi. Yeah, apparently the fan is very exciting. How are you? You okay? Okay, you want to go back upstairs and sleep? He's got eye flutter. He's starting to phase. Yeah. It's like, I was asleep and you stole me from my home. I'm going to turn the fan on here because it's warm. Toasty. We needed that break. There we go. Putin's new. Yeah, this is in. This is. This is. By the way, warmonger is now the new phrase. So the marching orders word from Russia is call everybody a warmonger. Apparently, they've road tested that, and they think it's going to affect the people who are pushing to support Ukraine. They think it's going to diminish. Even though warmonger would arguably be the people who started the war and wanted to continue, or are rooting for the ones who started it, because in theory, people who start wars will start more of them. And so anyways, this is no surprise that people who follow Aaron Mate, which are largely Russian bots and idiots, are throwing this. Now, I've had two in the last 24 hours, two of sort of the semi-regulars, like, I voted for Biden, but I kind of support Trump, like phony both sides of the fence accounts, called me a warmonger. And it's just, that's the sales pitch right now. So, we'll have to put some, like, I'm not even a fishmonger, so I'm not quite sure. I'm a warm hugger. I think that works. But anyway, so Aaron Mines, not every day that a headline can fully capture the depravity of U.S. media and political culture. Putin's nuclear threats are pushing people like Trump and Elon Musk to press for a Ukraine peace deal. Nuclear expert warns that's dangerous. Okay, the deal they're pushing for is not a peace deal. It is basically telling Ukraine to succumb to Russia's nuclear blackmail. And anybody who thinks that will end is a fucking moron. This is Belarus saying that they're going to have 9,000 Russian troops on their border with Ukraine. They don't have them. And if they are, they're just going to be running drills. They won't be ready to attack anywhere. They can't afford to pull them from anywhere else. My guess is that the Russian people who are connected are insisting that their kids, if they have to deploy, are being sent to Belarus to dick around there. So, there you go. And this is the Ukrainians greeting people who've come in to help them. Yeah. This is the Russian fighter plane that crashed into their own building. Classy. Aw. Yeah, so this is, right here, Yeysk, inside Russia, that's where it crashed. So God knows where it flew from. A Su-34 bomber was on a training flight when one of its engines caught fire. Yeah, they're training right on the border of Ukraine. Putin has lost more troops in Ukraine than U.S. did in the whole of the Vietnam War. Yeah, And we had more people then. We still do. Yeah, that's holy shit. Yeah, you think they're going to care what happens to Ukrainian apartment buildings when this happens to their own? Fucking hell. And he's near the water. Like, how do you, even if you're losing control, how do you, it takes work to fuck up a plane that bad. I don't care if one of your engines catches fire. You're near the water. Take it down in the water instead of an apartment building. What the fuck? That is he the new like woman with a cat, like the little girl, like looking like the Omen? Killer drones, fire for supremacy. These are the Iranian ones, the ones that sound like a chainsaw. Yeah. Yeah, this is the latest from there too. Oh, and this is the story. This Ukrainian musician wouldn't play like the Russian national anthem, so they killed him in one of the occupied territories in Kherson. He wouldn't do it, so they just shot him. And that's the kind of people you want running the world. You know, that if you're going to back down from a challenge, you want to back down from a challenge, someone who's an equal partner like that. Somebody you can trust. One day closer to victory, we will not bow. Not a good morning, world. Stand with Ukraine. This is one of those kamikaze drones. They just stamp them and send them up in the sky. Yeah, the Russians just want more territory so they can build more forces and then do it again. And you'll see this a bunch too. Ukraine was never a country until 1991. Then Russia didn't start being a country until 1991. Get the fuck out of here. Russian UAV armed with VOG grenade was detected by a Ukrainian drone. Oh, they blew it up. One drone killing another. This is drone on drone crime. Get ready. This is the future of human warfare, ladies and gents. It's going to be like Chinese robot dogs with guns mounted on them getting fired on by drones that are shooting each other. While we all watch like we're playing chess on the Millennium Falcon, I guess. U.S. is sending so many weapons. Ukrainian experts are starting to worry. I love this. Dangerously depleted is what are starting to worry is the phrase. I read this article yesterday. This is the fucking Daily Caller. This is some of you may recall yesterday, the caller thing, that I just took a clip from their own article and called them a bunch of dicks. Because we're not running out of shit. We're not. And the idea, by the way, they're like, what if we get in a fight with China? Like, fucko. Our battle with China will not be a land battle. We're not going to fucking invade China with troops. Dumb. Why the fuck would we? We're not going to have, like, howitzers in the fucking fight for China. Like, it's just dumb. I don't fucking get these folks. Is that the building that got hit or one of the other ones? It's hard to tell. Meanwhile, Ukrainian brides. And her eyes haven't been whitened in Photoshop at all. Dear God, they're staring at me. I can't. Yeah, this is that's it. That's it wasn't a fighter jet, it was a bomber, according to them. But whatever. Not that it matters. Iran is providing Russia with longer range missiles than the U.S. is providing Ukraine. Solution, yeah, ATACMS. Yeah, that's true, but they also are sightline. They're not satellite guided. So it's the same problem they have with their drones. That's why they believe a lot of these drones that are flying into Kiev are coming from Belarus. And then Iran obviously is a big story right now. This is fucking amazing what's going on over there. That's where you guys don't understand comedy. Iran did not send drones just like the United States did. Zelensky, you have something. I don't know, whatever. This is the Iran denies. Oh, right, yeah. We didn't blow up the pipeline. The Russians did. Iran's support for Russia's war on Ukraine will be met with because they're venting gas out of the pipeline. They don't want to send the gas. It's sitting there fully pressurized, and the gas isn't going anywhere. So they wanted to vent it at sea because it's never going to be reopened. There was a couple things. Hold on, I'm going to sneeze. Is there a third one? Nope. Okay. Clear. Iran, the Brits used to ski in Iran. Like, it used to be a travel destination. Oil, and more specifically our reliance on oil, has fucked up a lot of things. The faster we get off fucking oil and can get our commuter cars onto renewables, the better this world will be. Because the mullahs and all these guys will ultimately end up... what the fuck is happening there? We're going to have to get this one. Is it translated? What does this say? Crushing the field of ignorance and crime of Folishar with Molotov cocktails by militant youth on 25th, May 14. Okay. I don't know. It's hard to tell from some of these videos because some stuff there's a huge mix of it. And then Iranian drones are obviously part of this. Iranian government blames U.S. for protests in Iran. Yeah, because women would never want their own rights or their own ability to display their religious fealty as opposed to being forced to do it. Again, I don't know how many times I have to say this. The minute you enforce legally the wearing of religious garb, it is no longer about faith and undermines your belief entirely. If you have to wear a cross, then a cross has no meaning. If you have to wear a hijab or a burqa, the hijab or the burqa has no meaning. In terms of faith, in terms of religious value, zero. Fucking zero. Geez, Fox News want to ditch Biden, Trump. Also Trump is what they're saying. All right. Yeah, we're just jealous because we want the PM of Norway to be our leader. There's so much stuff in this. Oy. Oh, this is them. These. One of the scariest things about this is the Iranian forces are like pick up women and up the street, and they effectively abduct them for, not wearing their hijab or protesting or whatever it is. And then, sometimes they're wearing uniforms. Other times it's just fucking four dudes throwing somebody in a car. And how the fuck do you know who's who? Why wouldn't you fight back against that? And how, as police officers in a country, how do you ever earn respect if somebody can just look like you and snatch somebody up? Like, it's fucked up. Just wrong on so many goddamn fronts. There's just fires in the streets and all kinds of shit like that. Wasn't that? United Nations called for an urgent investigation. 100 migrants were found distressed, bruised, stripped naked at the border between Greece and Turkey. Okay. Hey, look at these guys. Richard Saunders, were it up to me, scary thought, I would send a secret message to the murderer MBS Saudi Arabia stating that you have 24 hours to rethink their oil pricing decision, which helps Russia buy the weapons of terror, or we cease all diplomatic relations, put them in the Iran box. The problem with this is the timing factor of it. Again, most of our problems require a managed exit. And that's what we're fucking doing, kids, everywhere. I got news for you. We are in the process. This is why it's such a murky circumstance politically right now, is because we are in a managed exit from a period of time when we were in a have to or a want to trap of our own making. U.S. to penalize Iran third parties for missile sales to Russia. No kidding. What a shock. Also, we're better with them sending these shitty Iranian drones than them getting them from someplace else if they get them at all. That's the problem, is it? Like, where the fuck are they going to get them if they don't get them from Iran? That China's not selling them to them, and even if they did, the Chinese ones suck. Yeah, the biggest fight right now in Iran is just Islamism. It's, again, forced belief is antithetical to true religious belief. That's just how it works. Sorry. Once you force someone to act in a certain way, you eliminate the moral aspect of it. You just do. Let's see where we're gonna. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. So China, Biden. There's probably a. Let's go in here real quick. There was a article. Yeah, here you go. This is it. The U.S. government's. Here you go. Let me put this down. U.S. government's new export controls are wreaking havoc on China's chip industry. New rules about U.S. persons are driving an industry-wide decapitation. Trump could have done this, but he didn't. Why not? Because he thought he bought the whole China's going to eat our lunch bullshit storyline. I bought it 10 years ago, and then I went there. I bought it, I would argue, all the way up till Xi Jinping took over. And then when Xi Jinping took over, that was it. That's the end of the beginning of Xi Jinping's term, his first term, was the end of the Chinese miracle. You can track it the fuck back. Done, done, done. It's going to be really awful over there. We're talking like decomposing civil war in Africa level. We're talking like Congo level, collapse. She is China's Trump, but with more intellect. I would agree that he is in some ways China's Trump, but he doesn't have more intellect. As a matter of fact, the Chinese people think he's pretty dumb. So dumb that the Chinese media has had to put out a campaign like, read what she reads, because he's super fucking smart. The following is the translation of a thread posted earlier this week by Li Dongzi. Lots of people don't know what happened yesterday. To put it simply, Biden has forced all Americans working in China to pick between quitting their jobs and losing American citizenship. Every American executive and engineer working in China's semiconductor manufacturing industry resigned yesterday, paralyzing Chinese manufacturing overnight. One round of sanctions from Biden did more damage than all 4 years of performative sanctioning under Trump. Wow. I mentioned this. I said it on Steph's show this morning, that the CHIPS Act itself and the changes we are making, reshoring chips to the United States, is the most pivotal geopolitical and economic change in the United States since China opened in the fucking first place. Although American semiconductor exporters had to apply for licenses during the Trump years, licenses were approved within a month. With the new Biden sanctions, all American suppliers of IP blocks, components, and service departed overnight, thus cutting off all service to China. Long story short, every advanced node semiconductor company is currently facing comprehensive supply cutoff, resignations from all American staff, and immediate operations paralysis. This is what annihilation looks like. China's semiconductor manufacturing industry was reduced to zero overnight. Complete collapse, no chance of survival. Translation of the DM's industry, screenshot. Person A, everyone from Lam Research at Yangtze Memory left today, and on the 12th, the AMAT folks will leave as well. Person B, yes, not just Yangtze, but also HLMC, ICRD's Jiading Fab, that's a fabrication plant, Hefei CXMT DRAM Fab, which is DRAM, it's like the RAM chips that you see in computers, gone. All leaving. Even Gei and Hangzhou is pausing operations. Question, why hasn't Chinese media reported on this? Answer, I don't know. Because 20th Party or 70th Party Congress or whatever the fuck? 20th Party Congress, right? That's why. Because Xi Jinping's getting coronated right now. They're not going to talk about this shit. And understand the timing of this stuff. Xi Jinping, right as he's getting his third magic term and becoming dictator for life, was the fucking day the Americans said, okay, you're not in the democracy game anymore, then fuck you. We're not sending you free shit anymore. We are not going to nurse along your technological advancement if you're going to use it to create a dictatorship. Fuck off. The only possible explanation is that this major story and its future ramifications will bring severe damage to the supposedly continuous flourishing semiconductor industry and Chinese national security as a whole. And the story because Xi Jinping is getting coronated. The level of embarrassment is on par with Pelosi's Taiwan visit. I would say it's arguably worse. Many people don't understand why this is annihilation. ASML has stopped providing services and support to mainland China. Look at this shit. Dear U.S. colleagues, let me see if I can shrink this down. So you guys can see it. Dear U.S. colleagues, as you may have heard on Friday, October 7th, the U.S. government issued a new set of regulations prohibiting support to certain fabrication facilities in China by U.S. persons. As a result, ASML U.S. employees, including U.S. citizens, green card holders, and foreign nationals who live in the U.S., are prohibited from providing certain services to advanced fabs in China. Effective at midnight tonight, ASML U.S. employees must refrain either directly or indirectly from servicing, shipping, or providing support to any customers in China until further notice, which means never. Not while the CCP exists, I would argue. Oh, Fox News isn't going to talk about this. You're not going to hear this on fucking Glenn Beck. The Daily Caller is not going to repeat this fucking thread. While ASML is actively assessing which particular fabs are affected by the restriction, if you have questions about how this may affect you or your team, please contact David Kim, head of U.S. Legal, or Steve Lita, Export Controls Manager. We are working diligently to evaluate the new regulations and their impact on ASML. We will follow up with more information in the near future. Best regards on behalf of the U.S. management team, David Kemp. Everybody fucked off. This like all the bots are jumping in. Look at this dude. Okay, this is hilarious. Can't wait for the administration to come out and defend these actions. Weeks ago, the government subsidized our large chip producers at our cost with corporate welfare. Now we are strangling companies working in China at our cost. Meanwhile, I think you're more angry this contradicts your prior that Biden is somehow a stooge for China. Is there anything our administration is doing that isn't China first? August 13th, 2021, and this is a year later. It's because they play both sides of this fence. Those are bot accounts set up. Basically by the Chinese government. Holy shit, this is amazing. Pardon me while I retweet that thread, and I'll trigger it again later. Yeah, this is just yet another decoupling sign. Biden is serious about chips, and without advanced chips, China has become a very bad place to buy a lot of things. There you go. Apple freezes plan to use China's YMTC chips amid political pressure. Yeah, that's just the end of that. Trump talked big, but Biden delivers. Again, the whole storyline you've been fed about Biden and China, what is it? What have you been told? By Trump World and every Chinese bot account. That $1.5 billion and Hunter Biden and Joe Biden is in league with them and blah, blah, blah. No, I didn't say retweet my thread. I was retweeting that one, Saha. It's not my thread. Somebody else wrote that because they were reading, they were translating from a Chinese thread. Tech Wars. Biden does more in 4 days to check China than Trump did in 4 years. That's from Occupy Democrats. Kim.com is saying that this is Biden trying to get China to go to war because we're not giving them the chips that they would use for military applications. Biden administration export controls on China's semiconductor industry herald a new world of economic warfare, decoupling, and rival manufacturing blocks. Yeah. And what does Jim Jordan put up there? Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, related to his overseas business dealings with China and Ukraine, according to new whistleblower disclosures. The FBI is in possession of voluminous evidence of potential criminal crime. Yeah, potential. Come back to me after Trump's obvious criminal conduct usurps the potential criminal conduct. And you know what? If Hunter Biden did something illegal that warrants jail time, he'll go. Bye. Oh, of course, the trolls are out today. Hi, trolls, by the way. Thank you for spreading me out through the algorithm. I greatly appreciate it. Without you, it would just be kind of a cul-de-sac of friends and believers. Yeah, hit the like while you're at it. And if you're a troll, please hit the dislike. Yeah. Also, use emojis or something like that. Speaking of emojis, because, if the only problem I have with trolls is when you guys start using bigoted and racist language. I know it's really hard for you, so every time you don't, I'm very impressed. Joe, yeah, there we go. This is the Dark Brandon thing, the bulwark. Biden administration isn't perfect. Sometimes it does things you don't like. Sometimes it does things you do like imperfectly, beg your pardon. But add these new, very aggressive export controls to the list of things Biden has done either pretty well or very well. Joe Biden just crushed China's semiconductor industry. Because it wasn't China's semiconductor industry, dumb fuck. That's the part that bothers me about this. It wasn't China's even the ones that are fabricated in Taiwan are invented in the United States and designed in the United States. Moving manufacturing over there and then letting them use those chips to advance their military or their space program while a good portion of their society is being poisoned or killed, or they're using slave labor to make other shit is wrong, and fuck them. And by them, I mean the CCP. You guys know I'm, I've got a lot of Chinese friends. But what the government is doing is fucked up. Yeah, so it's just going to be this rotation. And yeah. And even that is like a lie. Look at that graphic. This is what annihilation looked like. Biden export controls wreaking havoc on China's chip industry. They don't have a chip industry. They borrow the chip industry of the United States and more specifically of Taiwan. Hi, Poop Big Rubber. I understand you got to walk the dog. You got to walk the dog sometimes. It's totally cool. These are Chinese accounts coming after it, but Biden is committed to strengthening our economy and protecting democracy from all threats, foreign and domestic. That's smart national security. Biden's national security strategy focused on China, Russia, and democracy at home. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, if they have, low-res chips to make toys and consumer gadgets, and they're of their own making, knock yourself the fuck out. But you don't get the ones that show up in spy satellites or in, tracking systems and that kind of stuff if you're going to use it to attack democracy the world over or to fucking control Africa, for one. Apple's been forced to cancel plans to use Chinese memory chips for its iPhones after U.S. President Joe Biden hits Beijing with fresh technology sanctions. Good. Biden administration charts path of no return with China. What was once considered unthinkable is now reality. Right? Well, it's because there's no there. I got news for you. And you're going to see a shit ton of Hunter Biden stuff to try to compete. That's the Daily Wire, the old one or whatever. No, he didn't. They didn't give anything to China. And that technology is still here. Let's see what that article says. This is Daily Wire. We love looking at it. Okay, U.S. government developed a key green technology. The Biden administration gave it to China, an overt dereliction of duty by the Department of Energy, in quotes. DOE's Inspector General is reviewing why the Joe Biden administration gave promising battery technology developed by taxpayer dollars to Chinese company instead of making the batteries in the U.S. China is now reportedly building one of the largest battery grids in the world using technology which could store huge amounts of solar energy without degrading over time or requiring lithium, mitigating in 2021, there was an illicit Department of Energy transfer of a $15 million taxpayer-funded advanced battery technology to China, says Barrasso and Joni Ernst. The company that received the license plainly stated on their official website they plan to manufacture the batteries in China, even though the license included a requirement that the batteries be substantially manufactured in the U.S. As these stipulations were continuously violated, DOE never raised any concern. They wrote, "We are concerned that this..." Okay, so they didn't give it to them. This company got the license predicated on the idea that they were going to manufacture them in the United States. Have they started building them? No. So the Department of Energy has not enforced the regulations put on this license by the Biden administration. In response, replies this month, we are conducting a thorough review of the matter. In August, NPR reports the U.S. government-funded scientists working at the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory had developed the vanadium redox flow battery, which could store enough energy to power a house and last for 30 years. The technology would make it easier to rely on solar power. The U.S. government holds the patent on the technology, and in 2012, I'm fine. In 2012, back at the beginning of Xi Jinping's reign, when he was allegedly going to continue as a normal opening partner with the United States before he started becoming Mao Part 2, which didn't start until right before the Trump administration, and then continued throughout. It licensed it to Gary Yang, one of the scientists who helped develop it, so that he could commercialize it. He launched a firm called Uni Energy Technology, but it ran into funding problems, NPR reported. In 2017, Yang... I forget who was president in 2017, obtained a sublicense from the Department of Energy. Who was president during this fucking time? Motherfucker. Okay. Obtained a sublicense from the Department of Energy to allow a Chinese firm to make the batteries. In 2021, he transferred the license outright to a Dutch company called Vanatus Power, which said it would make the batteries in China, but eventually move production to Europe to comply with European rules. America had those rules too, but seemed less strict about enforcing them. On July 7th, 2021, Uni Energy emailed a government manager at the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory to request approval to transfer their license to Bananas. And within 90 minutes, the government granted approval, even though Bananas' website said it would make the batteries in China. Oh, for fuck's sake. But it also said it would move them eventually to Europe to comply with European rules. They're going to test them over there, for fuck's sake. Unnamed DOE officials told NPR they often rely on good faith disclosures, in other words, the honor system. But an American company, Forever Energy, told NPR that they had been telling the DOE that the license was out of compliance, only to be shrugged off after question because they weren't going to build it. We'll see. After questions from NPR, the DOE revoked. So is the Daily Wire just built on the idea that nobody will read halfway down the page on any of their shit? Is that how you build a modern media empire? Tucker Carlson, motherfucker. After questions from NPR, National Public Radio. Yeah, you know, the organization that the Daily Wire thinks shouldn't fucking exist. The DOE revoked the license, potentially freeing it up for an American company like Forever Energy. But a Forever Energy said now the U.S. is far behind, and she doubts China will stop producing the technology simply because it no longer has the license. They got the fucking access to it in 2017. Last month, Ernst said that taxpayer-funded tech breakthroughs routinely end up in the hands of China. Well, they sure as fuck did during the Trump administration. And that a confidential Department of Defense report went so far as to say China, not the U.S., is the ultimate beneficiary of DoD and other U.S. government research investments. Well, because they get it for free. It costs us, and it costs us to advance it. Thieves are always the ultimate beneficiary of shit they steal. Last month, Ernst said taxpayer-funded tech breakthroughs routinely end up in the hands of, and that it, okay, hold on. Please tell me when, oh, fuck off. Watchdog to probe IRS after hundreds of, huh? That's the link. I clicked the link on Joni Ernst, and this is what it came up with. Watchdog to probe IRS after hundreds of employees fail to pay taxes. Fucking hell. All right, so let's just be abundantly clear. We read through this. We just read through their own fucking article, and even the maggots among the crowd today, even the trolls, must admit that this is a fucking lie. Even based, I don't even have to go off and find what the story really was about. Even in their own fucking story, they admit it's a lie. So Luke Rosiak at the Daily Wire is in the business of lying to you. A lot of anti-trans stuff, a lot of trans groomer kid stuff, and border airports among fastest growing in U.S. could suggest scale of migrant flights in 2020. All right, whatever. Basically just hired on to Daily Wire to shit talk the United States government. There you go. But that's we just click on this. Like, this is just a fucking lie. That's just amazing. Was Trump working with Hunter? Yeah. According to financial disclosures reported by The Guardian, Senator Ron Johnson made $57 million since he first ran for public office in 2010, partially boosted by business dealings with China. Johnson previously served as a top executive for a family-run plastic manufacturer called Packer in Oshkosh, whose parent company, Bemis, has done extensive business with China. A close examination of Johnson's financial disclosures and other public filings to the Securities and Exchange Commission, legal filings, and other public records reveal that Johnson's wealth was boosted by his company's ties to another company that was owned and managed by his family, which in turn grew in its business in China, acquired businesses in China, and reported having a loan worth tens of millions of dollars from the Bank of China. Do you understand why Ron Johnson and the Daily Wire and Glenn Beck and all these dumb motherfuckers are attacking Biden for ties to China, and we got to stop Biden because he's fucking around with China? And A, it's exactly what they're doing, and B, part of the reason why they need to get rid of him so fast and why they want to stop what Biden's doing in relation to China is because it's screwing their entire fortune. Yeah. I'm not concerned about the strength of the dollar. I'm concerned about the rest of the world. Right, because it's too strong? The dollar is fine. And, yeah. The Biden administration has given the U.S. record high inflation. No, supply shock did that. A war with Russia. He gave us this? So what did Biden do? And what? Oh, what's up, Chip? I'm almost at. Oh, you're right. It is over 11. Hold on. My cat is upset that I've gone over time. Hold on one second. We've had a kitten. Now we need a full-size cat. Chippo, what are you doing, buddy? What's he doing? Hi. Did you want to come in and say hello? You want to come in and say hello? You big boy. The big boy. Oh, my God. I've always wanted a serval. And Chip is the closest thing. Holy shit, he's gotten big. That's my boy. That's my Chipper with the big belly. Yeah. Hi, buddy. How are you? Yeah. Hi. He's my big boy. He's my Chipper. Chipper's my big boy. Are you mad because I'm still on the show and it's 11 o'clock? And you want a snack because you're an ever-growing giant cat. Look how big this thing is. Like, seriously. He stands up to like a meerkat. Yeah, you do. Like, he gets up on... There you go. He gets up onto his hind legs and sits back. And he's just... Like, he can like, sit up to, like, the size of my knees. Amazing. Jonna, thank you for joining. Look at that, Chip. You got a member already. You made memberships grow. Let's see if you can help us out with super chatses. There you go. All right, you can get down. I'll be along in a second, buddy. Where are you going? You got fur all over me. He just wants to walk around by my feet. So I'll let you guys go. I'll see you this afternoon, 3 o'clock. And again, we have so much stuff to cover, not the least of which will, more than likely it'll be some of this China story because you know me, I get on a tear and then I'm going to stick with it. But hi, buddy. I'll be right there. Hold on. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me today. Thank you for the gift of your eye holes and your ear holes. I will be gentle in future when I use this. Don't forget, Sexy Liberal is this Saturday. It's on pay-per-view, so you can go to sexyliberal.com/tour and get tickets to that. And then, of course, Wednesday, I'm at Flappers in Burbank. Patreon members will get a free live stream of that show. And if they show up live, it's you plus a guest at any of my solo stand-up shows. I'm going to work out eventually a guest list for Nerd Halen shows and perhaps Sexy Liberal stuff, but that's if we're going to have any, that's always a big guess, but definitely for Nerd Halen shows and the like, and then maybe like wristband access at the Ultimate Jam nights when I do them as well, working on that as well. But anyways, take care of yourself, take care of somebody else, and I will see you guys later on this afternoon. Oh boy, it's just so much, there's so much going on.